Okay, so we're about to head off and go on our venture at Tower Hill. So if you would like to adventure with me, grab your nature journals and we can add to our A to Z nature journal entries as we come across some different things in the gardens, okay? Now, you can also come to Tower Hill and visit us. We are back open to the public and we actually have a story walk, just like this book that we read. So you can come back and reread that story. And just like I'm gonna do today, you can go and search for different things at Tower Hill in the gardens and trails that match each letter of the alphabet. So let's go get ready and see what we can find. All right, everyone, so we are here at Tower Hill Botanic Garden, and as you can see, I'm wearing my mask so that we can be safe when we're here. So what we're gonna do is go look around and see which things we can find that match each letter of the alphabet. Let's see how far we can get. Okay, I found something that begins with the letter A. What was it? Oh, here it comes. Right, an ant. All right, so I found something that begins with the letter B. What do you think it is? Yeah, beehive and bees. If you look closely, you can see them flying around. So why doesn't everybody add this to their nature journals on your letter B page? All right, so in this shrub over here, this is a spice bush. I have found something that begins with the letter C. Let's see if you can guess what this is. It looks like whoever was in here has already emerged. Yep, this is a chrysalis. And since we found it on a spice bush, we can tell that this is the chrysalis for a spice bush swallowtail butterfly. So we're right by the edge of the pond over here on the other side, and straight ahead, I see another really cool plant. These are leaves of new growth, so this is a new plant that's sprouting up this year. But those big puffy balls in the background are the plants from last year. This plant begins with the letter C, and it loves to grow around areas that are a little more wet, a little marshy, a little damp. Can anybody guess what this plant is? Yep, it's a cattail. And that little puffy white stuff is all the seeds. In the middle of the summer, these green plants will grow new shoots, and they actually look like little brown hot dogs on a stick. Right, I found something that begins with the letter D, or you could also put this under the letter S. What do you think these are? Dandelion seeds. There they go. Great, so we're in the forest now, and I found something that begins with the letter F. You could also classify it as something that begins with the letter M. This is a mushroom, or F for a fungus. And mushrooms and fungus, they are decomposers. So that means they break down all this stuff that's on the forest floor, all these dead leaves, and they will eventually help to turn it back into soil, which helps new trees grow. Right, and also in the forest, I found something that begins with the letter F. Yep, a fern. And ferns are plants that can do well in places that don't have a lot of light. So they do really, really great growing in forests because, yep, all of the trees block out the sun, so it's nice and shady in here. Okay, so I found another really cool tree, and this tree begins with the letter G. It has these really interesting shaped leaves that kind of look like fans. And this tree is super, super, super old. This species has been around since the time of the dinosaurs. This is called a ginkgo tree. Found another great plant over here, and this plant begins with the letter L. This is called lamb's ear, and it's actually nice and fuzzy to the touch. Okay, so I found another interesting find to add to our field notebooks. This is a plant that begins with the letter M. It is the favorite plant of monarch butterflies. The caterpillars love to munch on the leaves as they're growing up. What do you think this plant is? Yeah, milkweed. So let's add this to our nature journals. And actually, if you look closely, hidden in the leaves here is a milkweed beetle. Okay, now I found something that begins with the letter P. Can you spot it? Yep, a pine cone. And pine cones actually are not the seeds of evergreen trees. Pine cones actually just hold the seeds. So on warm, sunny days where there's a nice breeze in the air and it's not raining, pine cones will open up like this. And they have little tiny winged seeds inside them that will travel on with the help of the wind. Right, check it out. Right in front of me, found something that begins with the letter R. Yep, rocks. And this is actually called a cairn. People have helped to build this nice little sculpture in the woods. So over here, I've found something that begins with the letter S. Now this one's tricky because it has to do with the way that ferns, like this one, reproduce. Now if you look on the underside, you'll see all these little brown dots. These are called spores. And in order to make new ferns, in order to reproduce, once they are ready, the fern will drop the spores right down beneath it and a new fern will grow. Okay, I found something that begins with the letter S. This is a type of plant called a succulent. And you'll notice that they're planted in all this sand because succulents and cacti are actually related, and they are plants that love to live in places that are warm and dry. Anybody think of a place like that? Yep, the desert. So if you guys look behind me, you can actually see there's a body of water way back in the distance. And this body of water begins with the letter W. This is actually called a reservoir, and it's named after a place where you can hike or you can ski or snowboard in the wintertime. Yep, this is WACHUSETT Reservoir over there in the distance. Okay, so right in front of me is a tree called a witch hazel. So this begins with the letter what? W. And what's really cool about this plant is that it has these seed pods. And when they're ready, they actually burst open and they shoot the seeds far, far away. They can even travel up to 30 feet. Wow. Okay, I found another really cool plant over here. Now you could put this in a couple different categories. You could put it under F because this is another kind of what? Fern, right? This is actually a cinnamon stick fern. Because if you look, it doesn't grow spores on the underside of its leaves like those other ferns we saw. Actually grow spores that look just like this, that look just like cinnamon sticks. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for adventuring with me today, everybody. We certainly did not find something for every letter of the alphabet, but that just means you'll have to come back with your friends and your families and read our story walk again when you're here, refresh your memories, and see what things you can find here at Tower Hill to add to your nature journals. There's so much to discover. So I hope to see you all soon.